Even the characters are still unknown, unlike the heavily made-up women seen online in my past life. That 18-year-old girl, beautiful beyond measure, and in just 2.5 years of being together, leaving an indelible beautiful memory in Qin Yuan's heart. Qin Yuan carefully examined the photo. It's hard to imagine her white moonlight. Surprisingly, she looks exactly like Yu Gongsha. It's not certain yet. Confirm it in detail later. Qin Yuan had not yet recovered from the shock. Rain Gong Ai Lai smiled brightly and said, "So it is said. 30 years in the East, 30 years in the West. End-stage girl is poor." She proudly straightened her suction. "It looks confident." Qin Yuan ignored her. Instead, they took the opportunity to curiously browse through the other contents of the document. There are unexpectedly many selfies. "This girl is quite narcissistic, isn't she?" Fingers swiftly glided across the screen. Unintentionally, I found a picture that was out of place. On a blank sheet of paper, writing elegantly and confidently. I read it carefully. Only then did I realize it was an IOU. 3 months rent plus utilities owed to Kainiu Gongsha. But can this girl not even collect 10,000 yen? Looking further ahead, owe 55,000 yen in living expenses. Tuition is 300,000 yen. And the last one owes 3 million yen in medical fees. Qin Yuan sat on the bed, the brow furrowed tightly. This girl is heavily in debt. "Hello." Yu Gong Ai Lai suddenly leaned over, grabbed the phone. "Don't randomly flip through someone else's phone. Really impolite." Yu Gong Ai put away her phone, turned around to look. She stared at Qin Yuan for a few seconds. The corner of his mouth slightly lifted. "How is it? Why, selfie looks good, right?" Beaming with joy. "There's no but either. It's completely natural." Qin Yuan scratched his head, hesitating and stammering. "It really looks good." Speaking, she couldn't help but turn her head away. A bit awkward. She secretly observed Yu Gong Ai's reaction. She could feel her body tense up, a neck as long as that of a swan. Fei Han Li Pian. Her face was as rosy as the evening glow, both hands clenched into fists. Although they pretended to hold their ground, but her series of reactions, her inner turmoil has already been exposed. Just know it. I am the greatest joke known far and wide. It is a blessing for you to be my teacher." She spoke proudly, then reached out to grab the fruit. "Just put it in your mouth. Are we going to buy the textbooks tomorrow?" Rain Gong Ai Lai does not look away, staring directly at Qin Yuan. "Aren't you supposed to take the initiative?" In the small room, the two sat silently on the bed, scrutinizing each other. Yu Gong Ai Lai tried to leverage her identity as a joke, with the gaze of the eyes, to tempt Qin Yuan into paying willingly, staring into the beautiful, watery peach blossom eyes. Staring intently, the path truly stirs one's heart. Qin Yuan examined her, with that lovely face. I'm afraid just a wave of the hand. Countless people are willing to spend money on her. The rain god kills him, which is not an ordinary wealth, and Rain Lord loves Ollie. But it was an unusual kind of poverty. "Ellie, are you short on money?" After knowing each other for a long time, Qin Yuan took the initiative to speak. I can't spend a single cent right now," Yu Gong Ai Lai said without hesitation. "Did your sister give you the money this morning?" "Spent it all." "You went to play the pinball machine." Qin Yuan raised an eyebrow. "I can't afford to play with that kind of thing," Yu Gong said lightly. Then she let out a delicate hum. "If you don't want to, then forget it. I'll find a way on my own." She finished speaking. eating fruit with one hand, typing on the phone with one hand. It seems to be sending a message. You are borrowing money from a friend. Qin Yuan curiously asked. It's the manager of the store where I work, and I have no friends. The voice of Rainmaster Ailey is getting quieter. Lowering my head, I quietly reached out to wipe my tears. This girl is so straightforward. Compassion arises naturally. Qin originally wanted to pocket the entire 10,000 yen. I think it's better to just let it go. She took out 10,000 yen. Pass it to Rain Gong Ailey. The money is for you. Stop borrowing from others. Rain Gong Ailey saw this. Can't help but burst into laughter. Receiving the money, he smiled widely. Then I might not return it. No need to return it. Even if you're so nice to me, I won't like you either. Yu Gong embraced Jio in the vigilant gaze, with a hint of cunning. I already said I didn't mean that. Did I not move your heart at all? After being clearly rejected, Yu Gong Ali instead stretched out her little foot and rubbed against him. Qin Yuan immediately got up and stepped back. Don't do that. A lonely man and a lonely woman. It feels like I'm here to hire a prostitute. Yu Guo Ailey pouted her cheeks. Lying on the bed, strike an enticing pose. Yingang's fragrant lips slightly parted. If it were you, I can accept a deal with you. How desperate are you for money? Not everyone can do it. And I am still a virgin. You struck it rich. I am also a virgin. Clearly, it was you who struck it rich. Qin Yuan cast aside the strange thought with pity. That I'm not going to argue with you anymore. I'm going to sleep now. Can you stay and talk with me a bit longer? Good night. Speak. He left decisively. Return to your own room. The heavy door was shut and locked. Turning to look at the small room, feeling a sense of complete security, Qin Yuan collapsed onto the bed. A wave of exhaustion suddenly surged. Just as I was about to fall asleep, the phone received a message. He opened his hazy eyes, took a glance. Suddenly, I became a little more alert. I saw a netizen with a cute cartoon avatar, constantly sending messages. Are you asleep? Good evening, I'm so bored. I want to go out and have fun, but I have no money. Qin Yuan smiled lightly. Just gently tap the screen. Little brat, it seems your illness has recovered quite well. Still very energetic this late. The other party quickly replied to the message. I'm almost fully recovered, but now I'm really short on money. Can my adoptive father lend me some support? Calling for dad is useless. Your father is now completely broke. The two quickly chatted without any reservations, although we hit it off well in our conversation. But Qin Yuan did not know. This person is a gentleman. It's even less clear what it looks like. About a year ago, Qin Yuan had just decided to study hard to aim for Dong University. Met this person online. Perhaps it's a case of like attracts like. The two often talk all night long. The other party inadvertently revealed their physical condition 6 months ago. Suffered from a severe stomach illness. Spent a lot of money. Family members often quarrel because of this. It led him to even consider having a child of his own at one point. Qin Yuan advised him gently for a long time, knowing that the other person is also a senior in high school. Let's agree to get into Dongda. Then the area. Since that day, the two never chatted again. I can receive his message today. This also surprised Qin Yuan pleasantly. I remember you are a local from Tokyo, right? I am currently in Tokyo. Why not find an opportunity to meet? No, that would break the sense of mystery. All right then. Good night. Goodbye. After being decisively rejected, Kin Yuan suddenly felt exhausted. I yawned, fell asleep in a daze. One morning, "Good morning, dear." Kin Yuan sitting in the quilt, eyes tightly closed, furrowed brows. "I just feel like something is heavily pressing down on my abdomen." Soft and warm, a wave of refreshing musk filled the nostrils. Feeling a bit uncomfortable, he was in a daze. "Open your hazy eyes." A vague silhouette suddenly leaned in closer. She is a pure and adorable beautiful girl, wearing a simple school uniform, white shirt, paired with a black short skirt. The vitality of youth, perfectly presented. The waist of the willows swayed with a hint of doubt, outlined by the waist of the skirt. It was the most delicate Kin Yuan had ever seen, and soft waist, focusing intently. That gentle face gradually became clearer. His eyes were instantly filled with surprise. "Lilith, what are you doing?" Kin Yuan widened his eyes. As the soft halves of the hips swayed, the heat in my lower abdomen grew increasingly intense. "How is the wake-up service by beautiful girls? Isn't it exciting?" Yugong Ali tilted her head and smiled mischievously, gently teasing Kin Yuan's chest with fingertips. "Get down quickly. I came with good intentions. I called you to get up, but you are so fierce. It's truly heartbreaking." Yugong Ali gloomily waved her pink fists, gently tapping on Kin Yuan's chest, venturing frustrations. But the soft fists, it not only makes one feel no pain. Instead, it added a touch of charm. "Don't say things that are irrelevant. Hurry down." "Got it, got it." Yugong Ali left Kin Yuan, sitting at the foot of the bed, gazing affectionately at Kin Yuan. The beauty tribe continues to sway back and forth, a small section peeking out from under the skirt. Yang Jiu's fair and delicate calves, without any flaws. Legs are well proportioned, smooth and plump, bright white as snow. "How did you get in here?" Kin Yuan wrapped his body tightly in the quilt. He remembers very clearly. Lock the door before bed, even if there is a key. There's no way to open the door from the outside. I'm just not good at foreign languages. It's not that I'm stupid. Yugong Ali took out a card and gently shook it. "As long as you use this thing, insert into the gap. Keep a good rhythm. Just move back and forth to open the door." Kin Yuan sighed in frustration, looking proud and arrogant. Yugong Ali, filled with pride, aboard snatched the card away, scolded, "Next time, don't do this." Yugong Ali was not angry, just smiling and sticking out a pink tongue. The whole person is filled with sunshine and vitality. Such a look, it's quite difficult to harboring inappropriate thoughts about her. It was those long, snow-white beautiful legs, crossing and lying across the bed. The knees are slightly bent forward. Everything is in full view. Her legs displayed a graceful curve. Alluring or not, don't sleep in any more. The weather is still not too hot. Let's go. Yugong Ali was talking while walking towards her little feet. Put on a pair of off-white sneakers. Upon closer inspection, she wore on her long, beautiful legs. Irresistible thrill of the high, sticking closely to the fair skin, seemed particularly enticing. "What's the hurry? What time is it?" Kin Yuan glanced at the phone beside him. "It shows 6 in the morning. The mall isn't open at this hour either. Hurry up, hurry up." "I want to go right now." Yugong Ali was acting coy. The words flowed from that delicate, rosy, spoke from a small mouth like vibrant peach blossoms. "It will only make people feel her pure beauty. Hurry up and get out of bed. There is more. Remember to wear good pants next time you sleep." Kin Yuan was taken aback. Only then did I feel a chill in my lower body. The whole person was pushed hard. You took it off. I'm not that twisted. Just took a quick glance. Strange. Clearly oneself is. Sleeping in clothes. I drank last night. No, but why does it feel like a broken memory? Kin Yuan shook his head. I always feel like something is off. Once upon a time, your room smells really strange. What do you consider life to be? Holding her nose, she was with Gong Ailey. Couldn't help but complain. Her lovely cheeks were filled with disdain. When you feel full. Sister. Kin Yuan's nose twitched slightly. I indeed sensed the breath of life. Could it be that I sleepwalked last night? How is that possible? Who will walk in their sleep? Are you saying that? Someone else has entered this room. Kin Yuan instantly began to doubt. Arrived at Gong Shazai's place. It's a pity there's no evidence. So annoying. I want to change clothes. Go away. Talking casually with Gong Ailey. Jumped down from the bed. Standing under the air conditioner with my back to Kin Yuan. Can't you wait for me outside? It's so hot outside. I won't be staring at you. Hurry up. Let's set off early. Kin Yuan glared at him, randomly shooting around. Just searched for half a day. No scattered clothes were found either. Instead, I found my suitcase. Couldn't help but furrow my brows. He thought for a while. A possibility suddenly emerges in my mind. Swallowing hard, she walked towards the wardrobe. Open it. As expected, the room is filled with clothes hanging. The possibility of a confrontation with Gongsha once again confirmed. Kin Yuan quickly finished the task. Put on the clothes properly. Then brush your teeth and wash your face. After a process is completed, let out a weary sigh. Arrived. Miss, let's go. Yuan Ai turned to look at him, stunned for a moment, asking the way. Who are you? I didn't recognize him at once after he put on his clothes. Sure enough, you still put on your clothes after. Much more beautiful, although I also quite like abs. But Kin Yuan frowned. After a brief pause, interrupted. Stop talking nonsense, you delinquent. Are you coming or not? Why are you in such a hurry? Do you want to go on a date with me? I really can't do anything about you. Yuan Ai smiled sweetly. Stretch out the snow-white wrist and jade-like hand. Holding King Yuan's hand. It's not a date. I've said it many times. King Yuan couldn't help but complain, but also didn't refuse to hold hands. After all, it's soft and small. Can't help but want to touch a little more. Nodded to Gong Ailey. Said softly, all right, all right, all right. Duo Yinai, you've had enough. Too lazy to argue with him. Kin Yuan glanced at that slim waist, reached out and pinched hard. Just a moment. That exquisite, upturned face, dusted with a layer of smoky red, let out a faint moan, glaring at him with a fierce look. It really is soft. Kin Yuan savored the feel in his hands. It can be considered a satisfying curiosity. With Gong Ailey, take a deep breath. Slowly closed her eyes. After a long time, Fang stabilized his emotions. Said softly, let's go. On the road, the two casually found a place to have breakfast. There is meat and vegetables. Very abundant. With Gong Ailey hands clasped together. Spoke softly. I have started. Kin Yuan glanced around. Many people are staring at them. Eyes filled with envy and jealousy. After all, they are a pair of handsome men and beautiful women. Wherever I go, they are all very conspicuous presences. He still feels a strange gaze. But I just can't find the source. King Yuan no longer thought much. just about to lower my head to eat. Glimpsed at Yugong Ailey dining elegantly. Ripples suddenly stirred in my heart. Setting aside bad personality traits, she is indeed super cute, although there's nothing to show up front. But I still want to explore. Die, 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 die. Suddenly, a terrifying low-based sound, lingering in the ear. A familiar soft voice suddenly rang out. Qin Yuan suddenly felt something was off. Quickly looked around. The gaze swept around, finally fell into a line on the heavy shadow of stealth. That person occasionally appeared. Steal a glance at oneself after being discovered. Immediately turned around again. Pretend not to have noticed anything. King Yuan looked her up and down. A head of glossy black hairs elegantly pinned up, revealing a long, pure white swan's neck. A silver necklace was still hanging around the neck. She appeared elegant and generous, wearing a tight black sports t-shirt. The lower half is a pair of tight black leggings. On the feet is a pair of white professional sports shoes. Her perfect figure was outlined, because the top is particularly tight, the two chest straps on the back, drawn out exceptionally clearly, raised hips, the union with the beautiful woman, create an S-curve shape for the entire back, and that small exposed piece of the eyebrow leg, as white as jade. Appropriate meatiness, just right, although it's just a silhouette. Qin Yuan was convinced. This person is the one killed by Yugong. Be with me. Just stop thinking about other women. Went in. King Yuan came back to his senses. Looked towards Rain Lady Ailey. I saw her pouting, as if feeling jealous. She wiped her fragrant lips, whispered softly, "Even if I'm being watched by my sister, don't be too nervous. We are innocent and pure. She won't do anything to us." Also, Qin Yuan finished drinking a bowl of ginger rice porridge. After eating and drinking to satisfaction, the two of them got up and left. When one's character is upright, there's no fear of shadows being slanted. What's the rush? The two people got on the subway. Soon arrived at a bustling large shopping mall. Because it is morning, the vast shopping mall, it appeared desolate and empty. Only a few people, but most of the shops are already open. The goods are dazzling, overwhelming the senses. Qin Yuan, hold my hand tightly, so that people won't disappear while walking. Yugong Ailey turned back with a smiling face and extended her hand. I'm not a child anymore. Qin Yuan glanced at the soft, tender Ru Yi. Still couldn't help but reach out. The two immediately strolled around, stopping here and there, like a young couple. Qin Yuan glanced around. His gaze unintentionally fell on a liquor store. Raingong Ai Lai's eyes sparkled with light. Leaning on her shoulder, she asked in a teasing tone, "Want to drink? I'll accompany you for a good drink tonight." "It's not impossible." "Not?" Just a little surprised. Qin Yuan quietly glanced at the sign. Then he took Yugong Ailey and left, the rain god following closely behind. Cha tilted her head, looking at the store sign. Secretly brewing wine. It tastes sweet and refreshing. Does your grace like this wine? Although it feels strange. But if she likes it, I also can't say I can't. Don't make me look like a pervert. Qin Yuan secretly complained. It was just a glance out of curiosity. She didn't plan to drink. Once upon a time, there was a girl named Ai Lai. Why do you always wear your school uniform? Generally speaking, summer vacation has begun. Most students also choose to dress up. Kiyu loves Ai Lai. However, I wore the school uniform for 2 consecutive days. Because it's convenient. No need to think about matching outfits. Moreover, as a student, You can also receive many benefits. Yugong Ali calmly replied. Gradually, the smile on her cheeks faded. Moreover, I don't have that much money to buy clothes either. The words carry a hint of sorrow. But soon she regained her cheerful demeanor. Since you are here, then let's go try it on. Let you feast your eyes. As the words fell, Yugon Ai Lai took Qin Yuan, wandering around the floor filled with clothing stores. She carefully selected a few pieces of clothing, then walked into the fitting room, just thinking about how I will mesmerize Qin Yuan later. Couldn't help but smile foolishly. As the curtain rises, Qin Yuan found a spot to sit and waited. I couldn't help but scratch my head in confusion. Today's goal is to buy textbooks. Forget it. As long as she is happy. Just a moment. Yugong Ali suddenly pulled open the curtain, walked out with head held high. Gentle light spills down. She wore a rather exquisite white long dress. Shyly tugged at her hair. Does this outfit look good? Good looking. Qin Yuan's pupils dilated sharply. The heart was violently shaken. A stunning girl appears as if a fairy has descended. Truly beautiful like a fairy from the heavens. Not of this earthly realm. Not to be troubled by worldly dust. Especially her temperament. Bright as the moonlight. Serene and sacred. She is like a porcelain doll. Cute and exquisite. I didn't expect to look this stunning after dressing up. Even the rain god watching secretly from nearby was killed. It's also hard not to marvel. Extreme mental states cannot be borne, just because the girl in front of me is simply too perfect. However, the only drawback is that, a bit thin. Ailey's gaze flickered. I stared at the expression on her face for a moment. Who laughed and said, there are still many outfits. Just look forward to it. She smiled brightly, the two shallow dimples on her cheeks, like flowers hanging with crystal clear snow water at the corner of the wall. Charming and adorable. Yugong Ali turned around and walked into the poetic space. But after a while, she didn't come out again. Are you okay? After a moment of silence, she asked. The room fell into silence. After a long time, Rain Lord Ailey said softly that a small problem has occurred. Come in for a moment. A slight jealousy in the relationship. Did not ask any more questions. Step into the poetic space. She looked up. Can't help but smile. Lily's lips moved slightly, blushing with embarrassment. Only saw her. I was entangled by my dress. Afraid to break it. I dare not move recklessly, just maintaining a strange posture of bending over. Both hands are still tangled in the skirt. Unable to move. Don't just stare like that. Help me, please. The misty gloom in Ai Lai's moist eyes. Dim and hazy. The little face didn't know if it was too hot in the poetic space. Still thinking of something that makes me shy. Flushed red. Charming and alluring. This is really terrible. This dress is quite expensive, isn't it? Of course. 30,000 yen. More precious than my own life. The two quietly talked. This is beyond the realm of poetry. Between rain and sand. The two have been immersed in poetry for a long time. Can't hold back my feelings anymore. The sound of footsteps quickly approached, at a distance of about 2 to 3 meters. A faint sound emerged. Let's tackle it all in one go. Keep dragging it out. It will raise suspicions. Why continue? Let me sit for a while. This position is very tiring. I hope there is no one around. Wait a moment. This won't do. To be ruined. Let's change positions. Yugon Shaddai, standing in place with a look of disbelief, biting tightly on the jade paper. Jayok was so angry that he trembled. Why don't we take off what's inside first? So annoying. I'm sweating all over right now. The rain god sans wide-eyed astonishment. Just about to leave, but then turned back. After thinking for a while, decided to cough twice. Remind the two inside, but heard a coughing sound. The noise coming from inside grew louder. My waist hurts so much. Wah, wah, wah. Go die, go die, go die. Yugong tightly held the pink ring, back and forth seizing steps. He never expected. The always polite younger sister, unexpectedly in a public place, to do such a despicable thing. Just thinking about the humiliating climax of Rain Gong and AI Lai. Vena blended the sweetness of fruit with the sweetness of sugar, protein, and the sweet treasure of semen enriched with inorganic salts. He couldn't help but feel envy, jealousy, and hatred. I arrived first. I liked you first. Ailey, she is the newcomer. Yugong tightly held onto the pink ring. There is an indescribable pain in my heart. She leaned against the wall, with eyes wide open, staring blankly at the distant lotus tree. 12 years ago, she is also a senior high school student. At that time, she had an average figure, but she was as beautiful as a flower. Academic performance is also among the top. Father is the president of a publicly traded company. Family harmony. Everything is going so smoothly. The economic turmoil in Tokyo. The company went bankrupt overnight. Life can change in an instant. My parents had a huge fight and then got divorced. Then Yu Gongsha moved into the small apartment with his mother, living in poverty. But despite that, he did not give up hope. Relying on excellent grades, admitted to Tokyo University. At that time, father has already restructured the family. That was also the first time he met Rain Gong Ailey. At that moment, the lotus wood was pulled apart. Qin Yuan and Rain Gong Ailey. He walked out slowly and leisurely. Yu Gongsha quickly hid. Yu Gong embraced Ailey tightly, stuck to his chest. Qin Yuan endured for a while. Finally, I couldn't help but ask, "What are you doing?" In front of a large crowd. "It's like we're a couple now." Ailey blushed. Mei Shen Raobu. "It's still not my fault. I'm exhausted. I can't move anymore." Qin Yuan fell silent for a moment. Cold eyes critique. "Youthful. Can't even take off a piece of clothing. Wasting so much time. Don't think I don't know. How many times did you secretly watch you?" Yu Gong loves AI Lai's beaming smile. Suddenly breathed into his earlobe. Spoke softly. "Dear one, did you just feel uncomfortable serving? It means the head knocked on your belly too hard. Still light on the mouth, heavy on the neck. Feeling too light to be comfortable." Qin Yuan closed his eyes. He pinched his knee hard. "Don't speak carelessly. Where does this kind of thing happen?" Yugong Ai smiled charmingly. All right, all right. I'll just act like nothing happened. Let's go buy some books. This little fox spirit. What exactly happened?" Heard a roar of anger. Qin Yuan then looked towards Yu Gong and killed him. Squinting to take a closer look, he only saw, unexpectedly from the phone, Qi Lai took out a small knife that glowed faintly. "I'm so tired." Qin Yuan was taken aback, quickly pushed away the rain goddess, Ailey, in his arms. Solemnly authentic. Nothing actually happened. Don't be so ambiguous. He spoke without turning his head. He walked steadily towards the floor selling study materials. At noon, the two silently finished buying the textbooks. I casually found a place to eat. Qin Yuan was eating. Jai Yugong Ai Lai stood to the side, her cheeks flushed, glancing at oneself from time to time. I couldn't help but glance into his eyes. Confused too. "Don't look at me while reading." There's nothing written on my face. Yu Gong adored AI Lai's fragrant lips. Gave him a glance. Who made you ignore me all the way? I was thinking about our safety. Anyway, I've bought everything I needed. Let's get ready to go back. Finally made it here. Aren't you going to buy something? No need. Ming, your eyes were sparkling all the way. How is it possible to not want anything? Qin Yuan's chopsticks came to a stop. After a long silence, living in the countryside all my life. In the metropolis, there are too many oddities. A breathtaking spectacle. How could he not be moved? But the current economic situation, every little saving counts. I bought the textbooks anyway. There are still 1 or 2,000 yen left. I'll give it all to you. Yangong Ai Lai took out from her wallet. Take out 2,000 yuan bills. Qin Yuan pondered for a moment, not planning to accept. Forget it. Take a look. Go back. If it is the charity bestowed by Rainfather, he will accept. But the girl in front of me, much poorer than oneself. I'll buy it when I start working. Are you looking for a job? Then do you want to come with me? It's not quite appropriate, is it? Yugong Ai Lai quickly said again. Is it because of the way my sister is staring? You don't dare to get close to me. Qin Yuanwen was a bit surprised. You always knew. Is he following nearby? What this girl said before. It turns out it was all intentional. Yugong Ai Lai smiled softly. She blinked her eyes and said, Huh? How could I not know? Sister is a very persistent person. Once you set your eyes on something, absolutely not backing down. The words fell silent. His face was full of smiles, revealing a hint of special emotion. Then do you still dare? Flirt with me. Qin Yuan's eyes were filled with teasing. Rain Gong Ailey smiled playfully, suddenly turned and shouted at the pillar in the distance. Elder sister, Qin Yuan is being bullied. Qin Yuan glared at him and said, Stop talking nonsense. Rain Gong Ai Lai pouted her little lips. White Dao, feelings of grievance. You see, they bullied me again. Sister, hearing the call, Yu Gong Shaojai took a deep breath. Lion Bu Wai walked over slowly. Qin Yuan's mouth twitched. She turned her head to look at him and said, You are crazy. Yu Gong embraced Ailey with both arms crossed over his chest. A gentle smile. Anyway, he had thought about coming over a long time ago. And he came to you. Isn't it just having money to buy things? Qin Yuan saw his smug little expression as if he had successfully played a trick. A surge of resentment rose in my heart. At this moment, Yugong Shajai already walked to the two of them. Yugong Shajai's face turned slightly red, sitting next to Qin Yuan. She directly took Qin Yuan's hand, kissed without hesitation. Madam Yu. Qin Yuan was taken aback. Before I had the chance to speak, just paralyzed by a terrifying force. Those soft and sweet red lips, it was just pasted directly on. Yugong Ai Lai stood there in a daze, blinked. Covering her mouth with both hands, her face was full of surprise. Just a kiss away from too long. Wait for the rain, and then Gong Shajai Song will release his mouth and hands. Qin Yuan felt completely weak all over, the appearance of low spirits. Sitting there, lost in thought for a long time. Qin Yuan has indeed grown up. The taste is completely different from before. So I like it even more. Once upon a time, Qin Yuan swallowed. He has only been in Tokyo for 3 days. Suddenly, his pupils constricted sharply. Thoughts drift back over a decade. The same summer day, in the fragrant monitoring cabin, the woman who was greedily taking from him, that graceful figure, under the lights, fair-skinned and beautiful. Rain smiles brightly. Indeed, madam, you are like I used to be. Kin Yuan, we used to sleep together. You have forgotten everything. Yu Gong Shajai has long hair cascading over her shoulders. Lian Fang Kaio Lai, even though sitting down, but her beautiful figure was fully revealed, an invisible oppression. It came from him. Feel carefully. It's almost suffocating. You too, mind the occasion. At this moment, Yu Gong Ai Lai couldn't help but complain. Qin Yuan looked around. Only countless pairs of eyes could be seen, gazing intensely at himself and Yu Gong Shajai. He was too surprised. For a moment I forgot. This is still in the restaurant. Do you still remember? You said you would marry me. Yu Gong Shajai stands before the wind, swaying back and forth. Charming voices exchanged. Suddenly there was a snap. The sound of chopsticks snapping echoed. Yu Gong Ali coldly gazed at the two. An eerie chill radiated from his entire body. The nearby shop assistants were too scared to speak. He reached out and took Qin Yuan's hand. Without further ado, just take him away. Ali, are you going? Yu Gong Shajai slammed his palm firmly on the table. The imposing appearance is quite frightening. Didn't you say you wanted to work? Yu Gong ignored his sister's scolding, revealing a bright and gentle smile, holding onto Qin Yuan tightly with both hands, as if fearing it would be taken away by someone. Let me take you to visit the place where I work, he said, and dragged Qin Yuan's hand to sneak away directly. Yu Gong Shajai just wanted to chase after, but was stopped by the clerk. Are you their friend? They haven't paid for their meal yet. Ali, where exactly are you taking me? Qin Yuan followed the rain god, Ai Lai, crossing through the vast sea of people, running until drenched in sweat. Finally on the subway. What kind of job does this girl actually have? You won't sell me, will you? Hold me. Yu Gong Ai Lai lunged into Qin Yuan's embrace, smiling gently against the chest. The subway is unusually crowded. Only a tiny space left for the two of them. Qin Yuan let out a sigh, held him close, asked again, You're not doing some weird side job, are you? What are you thinking? Am I that kind of person? Yu Gong Ai Lai angrily pinched Qin Yuan's waist. I am currently working part-time at an izakaya, although the door hasn't opened yet. But I have the key. I can take you inside to experience it. Tokyo izakaya. Most businesses operate in the evening. The door closes around 1 or 2 in the morning. No wonder Ailey wanted to go out last night. The salary there is quite good. My boss treats me quite well. You can earn 2,000 yen in an hour. 2,000 in an hour. That is indeed quite a lot. As a summer intern. Quite good. Qin Yuan was also somewhat moved. 1 or 2 days' worth of salary. It's just enough to pay the utilities and rent. Not bad, right? Nugong Ali happily raised her head. The pure white chin rests on the chest. Fell again. Of course, I don't necessarily need you to work with me. It's just an acquaintance. It feels a bit safer, whether in the store, still on the way to and from work. It won't be too boring either. Let's go take a look first. Qin Yuan rubbed his hair, soft and comfortable, still carrying a hint of fragrance. In no time at all, the two got off the station, walked a short distance. They arrived at a small izakaya. Thinking back, it's still my first time. Let's go to the izakaya. Qin Yuan wiped his chin. Some anticipation. Then your first time. I'll take it. Can win the title of Tokyo's top beauty. Just enjoy the fashion in secret. Rain's love for Ailey is dizzying. Gave Qin Yuan's waist a poke with my elbow. Then he took out the key to unlock it. The two pushed the door open and entered. The first step is to turn on the air conditioner. As the air conditioning blows out, Kin Yuan showed an expression of enjoyment. No peeking. I need to change my work clothes. Speaking, Yugong raised a piece of lotus wood. Under the dim light, reflected on the screen, a faint and delicate figure. Hair flowing elegantly, slowly took off the clothes. A hand reached out from behind the curtain. She threw the black short skirt at Qin Yuan. Qin Yuan reached out to catch it. You can clearly feel it, the lingering warmth and fragrance on the dress. He quickly folded it and put it away. A turn of the head. You can see the reflection on the screen, that delicate and fragile figure. Before long, a pair of snow-white stockings, stretched out from inside. It was thrown back to Qin Yuan again. You've had enough. Then, for you, it should be considered a reward. I'm not that kind of pervert. Put those socks away as well. Qin Yuan grumbled unhappily. Only saw the rainmaster AI lie. Finally changed into the new clothes. Draw back the curtain. Qin Yuan focused his gaze. I only feel that there isn't much change. Let the 3,000 strands of hair flow loose, tied into a high ponytail. It appears cleaner and neater. A black apron is put on. An ordinary little hill, completely disappeared without a trace. Wearing long pants. The long, elegant eyebrows completely covered it up. He yawned, stretched out lazily. Beauty is beauty, but it's not that kind. Types that can arouse a man's desire. But at the izakaya, this place is a mix of good and bad. This kind of outfit is the best. Well, Yubong let out a long sigh. Then he politely walked up to the counter. The profession with the exposed sign smiled. This guest. What do you want to eat? Qin Yuan walked to the counter. After thinking for a while, I want to eat you. 100,000 yen. You really dare to make a bid? Qin Yuan couldn't help but complain. Then a light punch hit him on the head. Yugong Ali curled up, hugging her head. Silently, deep in their heart, they thought. It was clearly you who made the first move. Moreover, not everyone can afford to buy it. The store has restored the season. Yugong Ali slowly raised her head. Their eyes met. Everyone avoided it again. On the young girl's cheek, filled with red hues, the shimmering waves in her eyes. Under the gentle light, shy and charming. Perhaps it was too hot on the road. She loosened quite a few buttons at her collar, revealed a snowy white, fragrant shoulders and collarbones, above, still dripping with sweat. After a long time, Qin Yuan, who had been rigid for a long time, finally moved a bit. His gaze turned to the shy and charming girl beside him, because the two were very close to each other. The enchanting fragrance of worry and the warm breath of the girl rushed towards me. She took the initiative to speak. Let's start with some grilled skewers. Okay, receive 10,000 yen. Are you trying to die? Still collecting money. And it's so expensive. Qin Yuan shot her a glance. I couldn't help but reach out and pinch her delicate cheek. Items in the store. I can't just invite anyone to eat. You'll be the one getting scolded then. Rain Prince loves Ali without any resistance. Just vaguely explaining. Is there nothing free to treat me with? Plain water is fine too. Qin Yuan sat at the table and chair. Resting his chin on his hand, asked, Rain's love Ali's eyelashes tremble. Gently bit her lip. Blushing red cheeks. I can treat you to a beer. That's fine too. 2 large cups, please. I'll be irresponsible when I'm drunk. I know my drinking capacity and behavior well. Yugong Ali shrugged. He skillfully poured 2 large glasses of beer for her, a cup the size of a head. She pouted and murmured, "It's best to be able to get drunk." Qin Yuan picked up a glass of Chuan without hesitation. The taste of cold beer is good, especially on such a scorching summer day. Let her comfortably close her eyes. In a little while she drank the whole big cup in one go. Before long, in the shocked gaze of Rain Gong Ali, she finished both large glasses of beer. After drinking it, Qin Yuan's face remained calm, his heart steady, completely sober. She raised her eyebrows in jealousy. Tukao said, "Don't you feel drunk at all? A little beer won't hurt." Qin Yuan is full of confidence. "I want to get her drunk. Then we need some beijiu." The tone is quite arrogant. "If you don't believe us, let's compare. Qin Yuan is currently on the letterhead, but one person. It's really boring. Yugong loves Ailey, wishing for her face to glow like the morning sun. Indecisive. Is he trying to get me drunk? You're thinking of taking advantage of me while I'm drunk. Let's do something strange." Mingaming could have just said it directly. "I'm not saying I won't agree. I still have to work in the afternoon. Is it inappropriate?" Forget it. All emotions are in the wine. After just a few drinks, Qin Yuan felt extremely refreshed. Kiyu loves Ai Lai, but it has already reached its limit. Until I saw, her little face turned pale. The body trembles. Shifeng stopped drinking. "Are you okay?" Qin Yuan chuckled bitterly. The girl pressed against her chest. Her little face was burning hot. Breathe evenly. Remain motionless. Fell asleep. What a pity. Qin Yuan gently moved her head and arms aside. She carefully got up. A faint sound of footsteps suddenly came from the doorway. Suddenly became alert, getting the female student drunk in broad daylight. One careless mistake, but will be caught. The door was gently pushed open. As the sunlight poured down, a familiar figure gracefully approached. A face as cold and unique as ice. Delicate, smoky red lips. A perky poor nose. A familiar face appeared before my eyes. Qin Yuan's expression turned bitter, not surprised. "Sister Shazhai, good afternoon." Yu Gong Shatai quietly walked to Qin Yuan's side, opening beautiful eyes, staring blankly at Qin Yuan's flushed cheeks. "I'm glad I arrived in time. Otherwise, this little vixen will really get her way." She glanced at Yu Gong Ai Lai. Gritting his teeth, he muttered curses. Then they silently moved closer, gently took a sniff, sensing the scent of Rain Gong Ali. Shu Ran's expression changed. "What have you been doing here?" "I just had a little drink." "You are not yet 20 years old." Yu Gongshizhai glared at Qin Yuan unwillingly. I saw neatly stacked skirts and stockings beside me. Faint anger flickered in her beautiful eyes. When I saw Rain Gong Ai lie drunkenly staggering, but looking neat and tidy, Shifeng Anan let out a sigh of relief. "Ai." Yu Gong Shazhai cleared his throat, said coldly, "Next time, don't do that again." What kind of behavior is it for 2 little children to secretly drink alcohol? Even if the Qin army wants to drink, that too, you should drink with me. As a mature adult, I will guide him well. Drink heartily. The drink easily spills from the corner of the mouth, then along the skin, continuously falling down, to avoid waste. I have to clean it little by little. First the collarbone, then the chest, abdomen. Finally it is. Qin Yuan's lips twitched slightly. That is certainly not necessary. There's no need to be so frugal. Her gaze quietly glanced at Yu Gong Shazhai, with the chest rising and falling with each breath. Couldn't help but swallow. Frugality is a good thing. Every drop is hard work. What a frugal wine this is. Chajai, do you want to drink some too? Qin Yuan glanced at her eyes, shimmering like autumn waters. Filled with anticipation, he handed her the drink he hadn't finished yet. Yu Gong Shajai took the wine glass. With eyes like crescent moons, the fragrant and rich aroma rises. The world is full of diverse charms. She took a small sip. Soft brows and cheeks. A faint blush emerged. She asked softly, "You and AI didn't do anything bad, right?" "Absolutely not. She walks with purpose. Sit steady, clear and innocent with Rain Lord Ailey." The delicate figure appeared in my mind, unavoidably thinking of Luffy. Still say no. Your face is all red. Suddenly, Yu Gong Shajai leaned in with her upturned face, gazing at that face so close in front of me. Qin Yuan could clearly feel that hurried breath. The enchanting jade-like face blooms like dawn. A charming fragrance wafts out. Qin Yuan looked at her flushed cheeks, blinked. A hint of confusion appeared on her small face. "You won't get drunk, right?" Yu Gong Shajai swayed as he leaned over, pouted slightly. "Stop talking nonsense. I'm not drunk at all. I only took a small sip. How could I be drunk?" Seeing her in a drunken state, Qin Yuan couldn't help but smile bitterly. "Just took a small sip of beer. I actually got drunk. One drink and I'm out." Qin Yuan suddenly had an idea. He poured a full cup and handed it to her. "Since that's the case, then let's have another cup." Yu Bong Shashai saw this. Yu Jaya was puzzled. "I really didn't get drunk. You don't believe it, do you? I'll drink for you to see." As soon as the words were spoken, that whole cup of wine, she gulped down the golden light. Suddenly, her beautiful eyes widened. Stunned for a moment, the gaze was fixed on Qin Yuan, but did not speak. "Chashai, are you okay?" Looking at her dazed expression, Qin Yuan couldn't help but feel worried. "It's fine." As the words fell, Yubong Shashai fell backwards completely. Qin Yuan quickly hugged. This prevented a fall. Qin Yuan let out a sigh, looking at that upturned face, already drunk to death in the past. "This is really too weak for liquor. And a whole cup of beer, half of it spilled in the suburbs. Damp and sticky, reeking of alcohol. There's no way. Go ahead and take it off." She was cautious. Take off the soaked clothes. Then neatly stacked. Now on the body, only one small moon-white crab outfit remains. Revealed the icy skin and exquisite bones beneath the neck, and the pair of alluring, snow-white, delicate jade legs below, the long, dark, silky hair, scattered on the timid chest. Her skin reflects, even whiter and more delicate. Her appearance is even more enchanting. Sweat mixed with alcohol pooled together. A small pond formed in that ravine. Qin Yuan just glanced. Vine shouted that it was bad. The beauty in my arms seems to have collided with something. Her brows furrowed tightly. "Qin Yuan, what did you do to my sister?" At this moment, with Gong Ailey, they stood up in a daze. "Open your hazy, beautiful eyes," tilting her little head in confusion. "Just woke up at the right time. Is there a place where I can lie down?" "The crime of murder has passed. Lie down for a moment." "No way, no way. We have no space in our store. Can make you do such things." The faint sound of AI Lie's breathing could be heard. It leaves one speechless. This girl probably hasn't completely sobered up yet. These two sisters, one worse at drinking than the other. You should send your sister back. Otherwise, with her drinking habits, I don't know what trouble will arise." Ailey covered her mouth and smiled. Bright eyes shimmer with flowing light. Two faint blushes appeared on her cheeks. That's not wrong at all. The two locked eyes. There is laughter in the eyes. Qin Yuan frowned with jealousy, the expression on the face, gradually becoming more serious, seeking the way. What about you? I still need to work. I was harassed last night. Just returned early. Today we need to catch up. Gong Eli shrugged, feeling quite helpless. Then, with a beaming smile, if you're willing to pay me 10,000, then I'm not unable to accompany you back. And knowingly, her fragile body, already gently, overflowed onto Qin Yuan. The cheeks are also very close together, a pair of clear eyes, staring at her motionless. It is not heavy to kill with the public. Taking a taxi back. It won't take much effort. But a man and a woman look like this, inevitably suspected. And the status with Princess Ailey. It won't be any better. Stay here, don't say anything. Encountering bad people, it is indeed dangerous. 10,000 is just 10,000. Let's tidy up and go. Thank you for your patronage. In the blink of an eye, it is already evening. Return directly to the house with Gong Ailey. He fell into a deep sleep. The alcohol doesn't seem to have worn off yet. As soon as I got into bed, just like being lost in greed, staying completely still. Qin Yuan will kill him with the public. He was helped to his own room, gently carried to the bed, looking at that tempting sleeping face. Once again, I couldn't hold it in. Embarrassed, he turned and left. Just take one step. Kill it with the public. But suddenly hugged his arm. She said softly, Qin Army, don't go. I am scared. Qin Yuan was about to speak. She looked at him with her eyes shimmering like water. Qin Army, sleep with me tonight. Is it good? Saying this, he directly pinned Qin Yuan down on the bed. The flesh legs of a winged fish restrained Qin Yuan's arms. Glancing sideways, the 5 toes were all pressed together, like pomegranate seeds, ordinary arrangement, Jinyin Tai Tu, emitting a tender, meaty aroma, irresistible. Madam, we are all drunk. You should rest well. That's right. We are all drunk. So what happened tonight? It will all be forgotten by tomorrow morning. As the words fell, then those soft lips pressed against mine. Soft touch instantly makes one's heart race. Qin Yuan stood there in a daze, unable to regain composure for a long time. You can't escape tonight. The body temperature is rising little by little, beneath the skin glistening like gold and silver. Gradually, red and green began to emerge. The scent on my body mingles with my body temperature, flowing gently, filled with the aroma of incense. Qin Yuan's heart was stirred, feeling unbearably hot all over. Madam, this is not appropriate. Don't worry. I will divorce. Kill him with the public. Speaking frankly, fueled by alcohol, speak the flowers in your heart all at once. Even if you beg me, I won't let you go either. I refuse to be a loser. I won't give a lie a chance to succeed. The so-called Shura field is a battlefield. Win the world with righteousness. Defeated island cavalry, an ambiguous and decadent atmosphere. Enchanted. Qin Yuan took a deep breath. Only see the mist of oil around the waist. With sparkling watery eyes. Fragrant cheeks radiate a glow. Red lips part. A face full of charm. He couldn't help but look up. Gave a strong kiss. The entire room fell silent instantly, except for the hurried breaths of the two. There will be no more noise. Qin Yuan could no longer hold back. With a roll, he pressed the official down. As he gasped repeatedly, finally made up my mind, as my hands climbed up that pink skin, just wanting to climb up that uniquely smooth, fragrant shoulder. But soft, faint breathing sounds. It sounded particularly harsh in the room. Qin Yuan Shuren felt a tremor in her soul. A hint of surprise appeared in her eyes. He fell asleep. Finally made up my mind. I actually fell asleep. Qin Yuan couldn't help but click his tongue. Mingming was already poised and ready to go. Glimpsed at that lovely sleeping face. He sighed in regret, handled it simply. She walked towards the bathroom. He took a shower, changed into clean clothes. I originally planned to return to my room. I couldn't help but sneak into Yu Gongshu's room to take a look, looking at that familiar face. The memories in my mind become clearer and clearer. 12 years ago, a similar incident occurred. Looking at his snow-white delicate figure, unavoidably I recalled the awkward incident from that night. Qin Yuan and their first encounter. It's in front of the police station. Sneaking away to the countryside, Rain Gongsha faced hunger and cold, hesitating whether to call the police and go home. Qin Yuan acted out of goodwill and a bit of desire, brought him home, because they are just children. Yu Gongsha had no doubts at all, not the slightest feeling that I might be kidnapped. At that time, Qin Yuan was convinced. He is a complete fool. I stayed for 2 years. After entering puberty, he made quite a few mistakes. Qin Yuan rubbed his forehead. Shameful memories keep resurfacing. Since we have already made so many mistakes. Well, it's okay to make the same mistake again, right? The Qin army truly hasn't forgotten me. Has the body change been too drastic? The first time we met, no one recognized me. It's really frustrating. It's okay. I will embrace everything about you. Come on. Let's just make a mistake tonight. Qin Yuan tilted his head, sitting by the bed in a daze. Not. He is awake. Shajai, you've actually woken up, right? The disguise has been uncovered. Yu Gong Shajai pouted. She glared at him. Is it that obvious? Qin Yuan asked again. When did you wake up? Still sane, pretending to be asleep from the very beginning. Yu Gong Shajai snorted. Not telling you. The key moment of cooling down. It suddenly cut off. I would never say something like that. Janet, what can I do to salvage this? Qin Yuan. He sighed, calmly said, Shajai, joyful morning, I have also woken up a lot. About you and me. I was indeed impulsive just now. Yu Bong Shajai. Suddenly, her eyes lost their luster. A moment of impulse. Qin Yuan glanced at him. Explained. What's embarrassing is, at least it has to wait until after your divorce. This is good for both you and me. Yu Bong Shajai fell silent for a moment. A heavy stone in my heart has finally fallen. Let out a sigh of relief. Before the divorce. Cannot become lovers. But I can't contact my husband for now. There's no way. Yu Gong Shajai remained silent. Just opened the phone. I dialed a phone number. The only response was a disconnected number. Unless he contacts me first. Otherwise, there would be no way to find him. But every 6 months, he will at least come here once. Send me some gifts. Then hurriedly left. Qin Yuan will stay in place. Paused for a moment. This must be a real eunuch. You can rest assured, Qin army. Before marriage. I made it very clear to him. If I said I have someone I like, he will take the initiative to withdraw. Qin Yuan let out a groan. Did not take this vow to heart. People are fickle. They can also lie. Who knows his true thoughts? Yu Gong Shajai slightly lowered his head. The voice also became gentle. Nevertheless, Do you still want to keep your distance? Qin Yuan hesitated for a moment. The um, Yu Gong Shazai received a response. I wasn't too sad. Instead, a flurry of thoughts flooded my mind. There's no way to become lovers. What about other relationships? For example, coercion. Correct. I used the identity of the apartment manager. Coerce the Qin army into submission. Just thinking about him being cornered with no way out. Humiliated by me. What if he doesn't like the female captain? The relationship between master and servant, or even master and slave, can also exist. I remember he especially liked puppies. I can do it too. I can also be a sycophant for him. Every day I welcome my master home at the doorstep. Lick and play, even if using a belt, as long as it's the Qin army. No matter what, I will agree to whatever you ask. Qin Yuan couldn't help but scratch his head. He knew this lady was very abstract. But I didn't expect that. We have reached this point. At least hold hands. Sure. Yu Gong Shazai gasped for breath. The excited expression was quite terrifying. Qin Yuan suddenly bent down. Come closer. Kiss his face. Duh. As long as you don't borrow, it's fine. Yu Gong Shazai shyly lowered her head. Two blushes colored her cheeks. Duh. I want a hug. Qin Yuan looked at him for a while. Open your arms. Gently embraced his celestial waist. He lowered his head to steady his mouth. After a moment, relax and watch. Quietly watching him, Yu Gong Shazai's eyes were dreamy, with a flushed face. The chest rises and falls. I can't do it anymore. He covered his face with both hands. The appearance of the enchanting jade flute makes one want to bully even more. Then she obediently raised her eyebrows and legs. Feel free to do as you please. Please feel free to toy with me. Qin Yuan couldn't help but smile bitterly. Couldn't help but hold him tighter, resting my chin on that snow-white well. Then, like a dragonfly touching the water, it took a bite. It feels so good to scratch. The master is really bad. I already liked it a lot. I like it more now. Qin Yuan reminisced for a moment. The gaze shifted slightly downward. Licked his lips. Asked softly, can I continue? Yu Gong Shazai quickly puffed out his chest. A pair of shoes ready for you to pick. Ru Mei Mei Dao. I said it before. Tonight we are all drunk. Please dispose of me as you wish. One morning, a ray of sunlight streamed through the window, falling onto the soft bed. Qin Yuan's eyes trembled slightly, slowly opened. The familiar ceiling came into view. What happened last night? He felt dizzy. It seems I have forgotten many things, especially the memories after last night's cleansing, as if it had been erased. I can't remember at all. Qin Yuan tried to get up. But as soon as I moved, I realized all four limbs are tightly bound by iron chains. Unable to move. Oh wow. What is going on? Qin Jun, wake up. Hearing noises from inside the house. Yu Gong Shazai gracefully walked over, holding a bowl of rice porridge. Shazai, why did you lock up my hands and feet? He lightly tucked a strand of hair behind his ear. The eyes squinted slightly. Have you really forgotten? Last night you were afraid you couldn't hold yourself back. Let me lock you up. Did I have so much fun yesterday? Qin Yuan was filled with astonishment. Carefully recall. In the end, he shook his head. Can't remember. But the pain in his waist told him. Something did happen last night, though I haven't been able to taste it all. It truly is a wonderful night. He has really grown up, grown to a level I can no longer control. Can we continue like this tonight? Although my feet are a bit sore. But for the Kin army, it doesn't matter how much it hurts. Chajai, Kinyuan lying on the bed, looking up at the elegantly swaying figure of Yugong Shajai. For a moment, I didn't know what to say. After half a reward, just arrived. Can you let me go first? Yugong Shajai did not answer, just a sigh of regret. Take out the key. Unlocking the lock one by one. This is what allowed Qin Yuan to regain his freedom, although I want to lock him up for a lifetime. But, after all, it's not suitable. As for the things I wrote, no need to rush. Take your time. Anyway, even if it's just feet. The Qin army also seemed quite happy. For a moment the room was silent. The sound of Yugong Shajai's heartbeat. It all seemed a bit noisy. Uncertain how much time has passed. Qin Yuan let out a barely noticeable breath. The bitten lip also loosened. It seems like they've made up their mind. I still need to tutor Ai Lai in her studies. I'll leave first then. Yugong Shajai's pupils gradually widened, watching Qin Yuan change his clothes. Spread your legs. The body gradually drifts away, until leaving the boudoir. Even though she is so indifferent, I really like it too. On the jade face of Yugong Shajai, flushed with a rosy hue, displayed an expression of utmost comfort. Sound coming out. A tranquil fragrance wafted towards me. The delicate fingertips gently touched the thigh. Qin Yuan quietly walked towards Ai Lai's room. Continuous knocking on the door. But there was no response. She can feel it very clearly. Inside the house, the hurried footsteps. Ellie, if you don't open the door soon, I'm leaving. I'm here. Rain Public Ai Lai quickly responded, unable to care about not dressing properly. He directly opened the door. Qin Yuan furrowed his brow slightly. Look up and down. I only put on the top half. The exceptionally elastic buttocks. In sight. Feng Yin Hanyuan. Perky warning. If I could just grab a handful. It was a wonderful feeling that could not be expressed in words. Hurry up and come in. Don't waste the air conditioning. Yugong Ailey hurriedly urged. I understand. Qin Yuan walked into the room. The fragrance of the young girl lingered all around. Under her gaze, beautiful and pure, the vibrant youth of Raingong Ailey, sitting on the bed without a care. Only the two halves of the jade buttocks were flattened. Endless spring light. Can't you put on your clothes first? Qin Yuan let out a sigh, gently tapped her head. Yugong Ailey then noticed. It's cold underneath. Showing a panicked expression. Gasped in surprise. You, take a look. She shyly knelt on the bed. Soft little belly. A long white neck. The scenery is captivating. Embarrassed expression, yet still radiates. Pure and graceful Rain Gong Ailey. Pick up the textbooks bought yesterday. Gently covering her blushing face. Ailey's cheeks were burning hot. A drop of sweat flowed down from the face, flowing from the delicate collarbone into the neckline. Her hands didn't know where to place themselves. Holding the tree at one moment, brushing my hair at the next, Qin Yuan carefully admired the beautiful scenery before him. No matter who claims to be in front of us. The Rain Girl, Ailey, the first beauty of Tokyo. The popularity of mature wind fish is like the rain on the public sand. It's exactly her type. But if you had to choose one, it could be the former. She intended to inherit the style of Wai Wu, but that must be a person of the Wai King right. At least get a divorce first. She has no reason to refuse. If the two sisters are together, what should I do? Realizing that their desires have been stirred, Qin Yuan felt uneasy, cleared his throat and asked, talking about working part-time. I have thought it over. That family home, I want to try the wine shop. Bringing up the topic of working part-time at a time like this. You are really something. Yugong Ali shot her a glance. Are you short on money? Qin Yuan was about to respond. The phone in his pocket began to ring. Witness the benefits brought by the parents of this world. Then walked to the door to connect. As soon as the call connected, they hurriedly asked how life was in Tokyo. I live here quite well. The neighbors are all good people. Living expenses. You can rest assured. Sufficient. I work part-time to support my studies. I have already made quite a bit of money. Qin Yuan skillfully responded to these questions. At this moment, I sensed. Rain Girl Ailey quietly approached. Thief's den, on the other end of the phone, also got excited and thrilled. Wait a moment. Not a girlfriend. It's really not. I'll explain it to you later. Qin Yuan quickly hung up the phone. Looking back, only the smiling face of Rainmaster Ailey appeared. I can't hold my anger any longer. You little girl, not studying properly, just messing with me. I'm speaking honestly. You got it from my sister. Definitely scammed a lot of money. Right? What is deception? That is what I deserve for my hard work. Moreover, didn't you end up taking all that money for yourself? I only scammed 10,000 yen. Forget it. If you want to take it back. It's not impossible. Rainmaster AI Lie is lying on the bed. Then one leg crossed over the other. The beguiling charm. My feet were so sore yesterday. If you could help me feel more comfortable, that 10,000 will be returned to you. Don't go back on your word. A gentleman's word is hard to pursue once given. You are not a gentleman. Qin Yuan couldn't help but complain. Then climbed onto the bed. Only a pair of snow-white, gold-and-silver jade feet were revealed. 10 shiny, translucent toes are truly adorable. She gently lifted, gently pinching. These past few days, she hasn't made much progress. Memories of foot massages. It has indeed improved a lot. Only saw it glide over the instep. Yugong Ali felt countless electric currents coursing through her spine, feeling weak and numb all over. It shouldn't smell bad, right? She used a comb to hide her blushing face. Looks very concerned. Qin Yuan leaned his nose slightly closer. Answered, it doesn't mean anything. It actually smells a bit good. Did you just wash it? Receive such a response. Rainmaster Alice breathed a sigh of relief. Then he revealed a wicked smile. Then let's bite it. I said, let me bite you for a moment. Are you a pervert? Qin Yuan asked in confusion. I want to be bitten right now. Is that not possible? You don't want that 10,000 yuan anymore. Facing the threat of the young girl, Qin Yuan frowned tightly, finally reached a compromise. Swallowed hard and slowly approached. I hope there's no athlete's foot. Don't always say things that ruin the atmosphere. Rain Maiden Ailey quickly withdrew her delicate, jade-like feet, shyly shrinking in the corner. Take out 10,000 yen from under the pillow. He directly threw it to Qin Yuan. I want to study now. Don't disturb me. She let out a soft hum, then shifted his gaze to the textbook. Qin Yuan sat beside the expressionless Rain Gong Ailey. A pair of hands can't help but want to reach out and touch the subtly questionable soft waist. But after a moment, it stopped again. If there is anything you don't understand, feel free to ask me. A somewhat indifferent response. This left Qin Yuan somewhat regretful. After putting away the money, they opened their phone in boredom, watching the video. Jilly's green silk drifted over, gently hanging down. The delicate girl felt hot all over. Rain Fairy Ailey unknowingly moved a few steps closer to Qin Yuan, lowering the eyelids, as if wanting to close my eyes. It seems to feel extremely ashamed. Qin Yuan did not care, just quietly scrolling through videos. Yan Gong Ailey received no response for a long time. Couldn't help but give her a white glance. At the crucial moment, "Why are you so slow-witted?" She eagerly opened her phone, trapped between the pages of a book, immediately opened a chat interface. Start tapping quickly. "Idiot, what are you doing now?" A text message popped up. Qin Yuan was taken aback. "Meet her friend." Subsequent reply. "Selling one's spirit for wealth." Rain Public Ailey's forehead revealed a clear sheen. Enduring anger. Asked follow-up questions. "Can't you explain it more clearly?" "I'm just helping a struggling junior review her studies." "Is that junior beautiful? Is there a photo?" Qin Yuan scratched his head, glanced at Rain Gong Ai Lai, seeing her so serious about studying. It's not good to disturb too much. He replied directly, "No photos, but very cute. It's my favorite type." Saw this message. Rain Prince Illy wishes for a narrow face. Shyly lowering her head, couldn't help but let out a strange laugh. Qin Yuan noticed her unusual behavior, furrowing brows slightly. Look up. Only the upturned face was gleaming close by. Couldn't help but complain. Study hard. No playing with phones. Rain Gong Ai Lai pouted, dissatisfied. "Who asked you to take care of it?" "Why are you to me?" she said. He crawled to the other end of the bed, continued typing while lying down. Seeing her completely disobedient, Qin Yuan let out a sigh. No more words are needed. After all, you need to balance work and rest. And she is also playing on her phone. Did not teach seriously. Not qualified to criticize. It's just from her perspective. The posture of Rainmaster Ailey. It's really captivating. At a glance, close-fitting soft silk crab pants. It doesn't serve any purpose in blocking. The long, shapely thighs pressed closely together. Tightly pressed thighs. Not even a finger can fit in. Qin Yuan couldn't help but look up. Pure white crab pants, perfectly adhered to the perky bottom. At the junction of the lifted hips and long eyebrows and legs, the plump, firm hips suddenly protruded, formed a beautiful curve along the thigh, causing the crab pants to form subtle wrinkles. That silly girl. There is not a hint of guard at all. Just as she was admiring the beautiful scenery, a message caught her attention. "Don't you have any thoughts about her?" It's impossible to say I have no thoughts at all. But it's impossible to just snatch it away. Does she hate you? Not exactly disliked. I also find it hard to grasp her thoughts. A barely audible groan. A sound emerged from the throat of Rain Gong Ailey. Qin Yuan could clearly see. Her body is trembling. Show me such a clear and upright path. Her inner self. It's definitely not the expressionless appearance on the surface, but rather emotions stirred. Is it possible that she is expecting to be seen by me? Why don't you give it a try? Directly riding on her. Go with the flow if you don't refuse. Just take the rejection as a joke. The illness has been cured. Something's wrong with my head. Seeing my friend's bad idea. Qin Yuan felt speechless. Such a foolish idea can actually be proposed. At this moment, she glanced at Yu Gong Ai Lai out of the corner of her eye, looking at those two habs competing with the bright moon in the sky. The pure white snow is piled high. It is an indescribable beauty, smooth and fair, perfect. Qin Yuan couldn't help but swallow. A thought of trying it out arose in my heart. Coward. Yu Gong Ai Lai pressed her soft pink lips together. Strange images involuntarily flashed through my mind. In an instant the spring sunshine rippled. The gaze is enchanting, gasping and groaning just when she imagined reaching the critical stage. Suddenly something pressed down on my thigh. Strange sensation, pulling her instantly out of her imagination. Raingong Ailey blushed. She looked at Qin Yuan, who was sitting on her. She herself never expected it. Qin Yuan actually sat down. "Aren't you supposed to study hard? Look at what I'm doing." Qin Yuan finished speaking. I couldn't help but feel my face flush. "I'm going to read your book." Yugong Ailey gritted her teeth and shouted angrily. But then I remembered. This was her own idea. "Do not touch randomly." Finished speaking. She tucked her phone into her pocket. My mind is in chaos, completely unable to think normally. Giant Yugong Ailey really didn't refuse. Qin Yuan was somewhat surprised. Then he tried to reach out his hand, grab that waist I've longed for. Rain's reaction this time, more exaggerated than the last time. The body went completely stiff, eyebrows raised. From the shoulder to the thigh, all became tense and straightened into a line. "This is a free service. Let me massage your waist," Qin Yuan said. The grip tightened. "I haven't even charged you, so consider yourself lucky." She shot a glance at Qin Yuan. Just a few breaths later, she raised her head. "By-size neck collar. Chang Jing Tao's exposure. Straighten your chest." My whole body is trembling. Unspoken shudder. The unutterable heat. Talking about my part-time job. The faster, the better. Tonight I'll follow you. Let's go to that izakaya, Qin Yuan said lightly, familiar with that soft sensation. My thoughts returned to the work situation. "Okay, let's go." Rain loves Ollie, as if gripped by a pair of large hands, losing one's soul. Whole body fatigue. Mayan Shen Hankeo, Jio Chu and YY. Receive a reply. Qin Yuan nodded gently, though it is said that one can rely on the rain god to kill him, living a life without effort. But he still wanted to give it a try. Eating soft rice is certainly easy, but to be a vampire. But it was not what he was willing. After all, Rain Gong's killing was not for the tycoon. There will come a time when the money runs out. He pondered while squeezing, unintentionally. Fingers gently traced that adorable belly button. Just a little push. Rain Prince loves Ailey. It struggled violently as if being pricked by a needle. "Don't move around." Qin Yuan blushed as he complained, unable to restrain emotions. A palm struck down on that soft, perky bottom. Yubong Ali's body reacted, like a little kitten that only eats rice. Jai Oak was also incredibly agile. Suddenly it darted straight out from under Qin Yuan. Ta Fengmu stared at Qin Yuan, still biting a few strands of green silk. Seemed extremely awkward. "I want to study hard. Don't disturb me any more." He let out a shameful snort. Then Qin Yuan was directly pushed out the door. Qin Yuan felt a slight regret, turning to look at the blazing sun hanging in the sky. Quickly returned to his room. At the same time, don't forget to reply to friends. The reverse butterfly has been badly tricked by you. Evening. Qin Yuan was lying on the bed, enjoying the air conditioning, playing games on the phone, living a leisurely and simple life. He glanced at the time. It's getting late. Onowin, open the chat interface with Yu and Ailey. After a moment of contemplation, still silently scrolling through videos. Yugong Ailey might be upset because of this morning's incident. Just keep a little distance in the future. It's just a job. Then we have to make other plans. In this society, you can be both short and wrong. But we can't be without money. For freedom. Strive for purity. At that moment, a faint rustling sound suddenly came from the doorway. Kin Yuan was startled. In the blink of an eye, the door was suddenly pushed open. What are you still lying around for? It's time to go to the store. Yubong Ailey's body tensed up, tightly gripping the corner of his clothes. A pair of eyes darting around. Glance at Kin Yuan. Open again. Take another look. I thought you were angry. Kin Yuan got out of bed. At this point, the topic shifted. Don't think about getting her drunk again this time. I have no such plans. Yugong Ailey shook her head nervously. Stop talking nonsense. Arrive at the store half an hour early. She finished speaking, dragging Kin Yuan along. Directly leave the apartment. Get on the subway. Head to the previous izakaya. The izakaya is not yet open for business at this time, but a considerable number of employees have already gathered. Taking a closer look, a young girl in a green dress. The two entered side by side, instantly attracted everyone's attention, ignited everyone's gossiping desire. Alec, is this your boyfriend? He's quite a handsome guy. Are you a classmate? Ailey actually likes this type. Handsome if you want to eat. We can give you a discount. Surrounded by a group of women. Kin Yuan and Yugong Ailey found it difficult to move an inch. She quickly waved her hand. I want to explain, but was stopped by Yuan Ailey. She held Kin Yuan's hand, forcefully breaking through the crowd's encirclement. Don't you want to explain it? Kin Yuan was confused. No time to waste talking with them. And there's really nothing to explain. Yugong Ailey's face flushed slightly, quickly changed the subject. I'll take you to meet the store manager first, she said, gently pushed open the manager's office door, leading Kin Yuan to enter quickly. Inside, she is a stunningly beautiful woman with a captivating figure, dressed very tightly, wearing a white coat, a curvaceous figure, still very eye-catching. I thought I had hired a group of young girls as the store manager. It could be a greasy middle-aged man. You should knock before coming in. The beautiful shop manager crossed her legs. Discontent rode. Is this the person you recommended? The words fell silent. A sharp gaze swept back and forth over him. Kin Yuan felt very uncomfortable. My name is Shen Dongsu. Please give me your guidance. A cold voice emerged, carrying a sense of giants from 1,000 miles away. My name is Kin Yuan. I plan to work here from now on. Summer job or long-term job? Long-term worker. In the deep winter, the snow reflects a cold gaze. It feels like a sharp sword piercing my chest. After a long time, it became faint. Ailey, you take her to try it first. If we do well today, let's stay. Chuck. Jiang Yi's body relaxed. Complained. She seemed like she was going to swallow me whole. The gaze is truly fierce. Very normal. After all, we are all girls. You need to be strict with yourself. Just a little bit. All right. Change clothes. We are ready to start working. Yugong said to Ailey. Led Kin Yuan into a small room. Pick up a uniform at random. Added it to her. Finished speaking. She was utterly unrestrained. She directly changed her clothes in front of Kin Yuan. She took off her sheer stockings. Naturally handed it to Kin Yuan. What does it mean? Don't you like it? I really am not that kind of pervert. Kin Yuan complained. But the beautiful girl before me, but did not care at all, changing clothes by herself, as if no one were around. A stunning scene comes into view. Kin Yuan instinctively turned his head away, but I couldn't help but glance a few more times. This is obvious. It's about seducing oneself. although the fat on my chest has decreased a bit, but that soft, perky bottom, yet it can be called perfect. It was directly posted. Kin Yuan gently caressed her slender calf with his left hand. Down, woman, you are playing with fire. All you can do is spit in my face. What else can be done? This detestable golden swallowing beast. You're really bold to say that. With Princess Ailey. The legs suddenly slammed together. I felt Kin Yuan at my ankle and pant leg. Hold onto your ankle. Subconsciously shrank back. But it wasn't too forceful. Ming Ming whispered a warning. Wait a moment. It is now work time. Cannot shiver. You started it first. Now they are not taking responsibility. Let's talk about it tonight. Ailey's cheeks turned red with embarrassment. In an instant, my body felt hot and restless. Kin Yuan's lips curled into a smile. No more words will be said. Then, with a few quick motions, then the clothes were changed. Pervert. With Princess Ailey, her face glows like the dawn. Couldn't help but glare at Kin Yuan. I didn't expect that. This person is surprisingly susceptible to temptation. He stared at Kin Yuan's profile. I seem to realize that I don't really mind this behavior. It's quite inexplicable. Kin Yuan felt the scorching gaze. Make eye contact with him. Just a moment. Alice quickly turned her head. I can't bear to look any more. Kin Yuan felt a bit confused. The nose twitched slightly. A wave of musk surged into the nostrils. What kind of hair oil does he use? The aroma is truly delightful. The two changed their clothes. Then they arrived at the work area, introducing each task to Gong Ailey in a familiar manner. It's just a plate, anyway. Nothing too difficult. Just wash the plates after sampling. The workload is not heavy. Moreover, there are more guests late at night. After speaking with Gong Ailey, the body becomes weak. Leaning on Kin Yuan's shoulder. My lips are all dry from talking. Shouldn't you take the initiative? He playfully winked. In the moist eyes, a glimmer of cunning flashed by. In Tokyo, younger generations must understand. Help the seniors serve tea and water, even in a small shop like this. This morning, I was severely bullied by Kin Yuan. It's time for him to strike back. A few seconds passed after the voice fell. Kin Yuan remained unmoving. Close your eyes with Princess Ailey. Can't help but sigh. Truly a clumsy fool. Still standing there foolishly. After opening my eyes again, a handsome face. Unknowingly I approached. Lost in confusion. Shy feelings filled the heart. He shouted in panic. What are you doing? Before Princess Ailey could finish speaking, Kin Yuan pressed down on his head, pressed her lips against, despite gritting her silver teeth, but was quickly pried open, unable to resist with Princess Ailey. Now the lips won't be dry anymore, holding onto the pink ring tightly with Gong Ailey, glaring fiercely at him. I'm sorry, but I can't assist with that. Very dry. The conversation has concluded. He stood on tiptoe. Counterattacked. At this moment, a pair of heart-red eyes filled with longing, looking through the glass window outside the shop, staring intently at the two, separated from the public by a window, coldly staring at Gong Ailey. Even if we are sisters, she did not hide her disgust at all. Between male and female neighbors, it's very normal to help each other when there's contact. Moreover, the two are of similar age. Spark some fireworks. It's not surprising, but only the bond of love. Only this person cannot be touched by Gong Ailey. Moreover, this kind of intimate behavior, like kissing, kill him with the public. Suddenly realized. The pain of the ox-headed people. Stealing someone's love is truly a beastly act. Ailey is so cute. It's normal to be liked by men. But still, I don't understand. What makes me worse than her? Wealthy and beautiful. Better figure. The safe birth of a lively child. Still talking about love and fate. I just like slender figures. Or it could be said that age and the status of being a married woman. These should all be plus points. Freak, poop. But once I saw that clean and handsome face, and will unconsciously fall again. At this moment, King Yuan embraced Gong Ailey. Perhaps it's because the food has improved. Added some meat. The fingertips reached down. Not only are the calves plump, even the ankles feel soft. Slim yet not bony. Soft and smooth texture. Make her feel very fulfilled. This is what they call the passionate phase of love. The surrounding employees watched the two of them in their intimate demeanor. Couldn't help but show an anti-smile. Having good relationships is a good thing. But it's time to start working. At this moment, the sun sets. Dusk is approaching. It's time to open for business. This interrupted the intimacy between the two, as the sign indicating the closing of the door was put up. Change to an open sign. The izakaya is doing good business. Just opened. Many regular customers came rushing in. For a moment the entrance was weak, quite crowded. Looking at the continuously flowing crowd, King Yuan wiped the sweat from her forehead, paying from the heart. No wonder the salary is high. This business is really good. Don't just stand there. If you don't work hard, both, it won't want you. Seeing AI lie in a daze, hastily urged, "After all, this is a company for female employees." Store centered around the main theme. If she hadn't repeatedly recommended it to the boss, there was no chance for a romantic connection to be recruited. A long time later, in the chaotic crowd, a graceful silhouette. He rushed in hastily. An employee was about to say hello. Can be seen. Her gloomy face. Suddenly a feeling of retreat arose. With the public killing the branches, they held their breath, huddled in the corner of the izakaya. Ordered a glass of juice. Drinking alone. Because I was dressed very tightly. Once again, a person is so quiet that they seem to not exist. No one went to disturb her. If AI Lai dares to make a move against the Kin army again, then she might as well lie on the sick for a lifetime. King Yuan carries the dishes. After handing it to a guest, a familiar voice resonates in my ears. It made her shiver all over. Madam is also here. Love looks around everywhere. Easily found her silhouette, even if the concealment is delayed further. Cannot escape the discerning eyes of fate. Fortunately, I haven't drunk any alcohol yet. Otherwise, it will lead to a drinking frenzy. The entire izakaya is going to be cut down. She wouldn't see it again. Is it a close appearance of myself and AI Lai? Sorry for the trouble. Let's not talk about ourselves for now. Ailey is afraid that she won't have a good time when she gets home. Thinking this way, King Yuan glanced at the clock hanging on the wall, suddenly realized it was nearly 10 o'clock. The number of guests has not decreased at all. Instead, it keeps increasing. After all, they are all young and beautiful girls. Most of the customers at the izakaya are men. It's easy to be drawn in. Of course, among them are those who seek to stir up trouble. At this moment, a few people who looked just like a punk with yellow hair, walked into the store arrogantly. Feel free to sit down, with a lewd gaze, glancing at the nearby employees. Finally, they all stared intently at Yugong Ailey. Reveal an evil smile. Just a moment later, they inadvertently caught a glimpse of fate, a sturdy figure. Suddenly, several people gasped in shock. Gaze and limbs. It's quite luxurious as well. King Yuan leisurely carried the dishes, always keeping an eye on every move of the customers in the store. A keen gaze like that of a falcon let many scheming uncles. It is also a choice to give up. King John is really handsome, so reassuring. Damn that AI lie. They actually want to take her away from me, the gravest of sins. Without my beloved by my side, a fragile woman like me, what should we do if we encounter a bad person? Oh, I can't live without you, my love. Weak and frail. Whose weak girl carries a knife with her? Whose family has a weak girl? One arm sways, weighing 109 pounds. King Yuan couldn't help but grumble in her heart. Although size has a significant advantage, she did not have the confidence to easily handle Yu Gong Sha. The lady is a woman of both skill and strength. Since being returned to Kyan guise, the bond of fate is deeply felt. If there really comes a day when I live together with my wife, a life of tossing goji berries into a thermos cup is just around the corner. Time flies quickly. In the blink of an eye, it was late at night. The guests dwindled to just a few. Under the watch of fate, no one dared to stir up trouble the entire night. Is she still not leaving? King Yuan glanced at the rain god killer in the corner, whispering complaints. This is the Rain Duke AI Dai coming over. He took hold of her arm. She spoke softly. The manager wants you to come over. Don't worry. You must have been accepted. A love bond whispered softly. A heavy stone in my heart has been lifted. Walk towards the office. An hourly wage of 2,000 yen. Sliding down 100 meters is quite a thrill. A day's wages. It's enough to pay a year's rent with love. Wait until I have money. Every day, buy 2 bowls of soy milk. Drink 1 bowl, pour another. She dreamed of a bright future, pushed the door open and entered. The mature store manager, Don Zunai. I have been waiting for a long time. She raised her long eyebrows. Overlapping on the desk, the narrow slit of the eye slightly squinted, gazing at the romance with a teasing look. Store manager. No need to be formal. Just call me Zunai. Pole voice. Like the sound of heavenly music. Heart-stirring, but it contains a chilling coldness. Yet it makes people hesitant to approach easily. In the deep winter snow, a delicate hand, constantly tapping on the notebook. At the same time, he spoke indifferently. You did well tonight. I have also thought about it. The store is filled with girls. It is indeed too dangerous. Your mom is quite strong. He is quite handsome. Just don't create any chaos in the store, affecting the business. Can you do this? I will hire you. The heart, once tightly wound, also finds relaxation. Nodded in agreement. Once upon a time, you are a college student. He has already dropped out of school. In the deep winter, the cold, icy gaze swept over the body. Very frightening. College student. Which school is it from? Bond. The relationship responds truthfully. Only the beautiful store manager was seen in front. The corners of the mouth lifted in a smile. Which department do you plan to enroll in? This inquiry is like the spout of a teapot. Let love be quite painful, but still continued to answer. Department of Astronomy. In the deep winter, Zunai looked at King Yuan with great interest. There was a hint of appreciation in her beautiful eyes. You should go out. King Yuan softly sighed. I don't understand what she's excited about, but still obediently left. After the fate of love has departed, in the deep winter snow, the milkmaid undid the buttons of her collar, revealing her snow-white collarbone, softly and seductively said, Start a small business. Earn some research funds. I actually recruited my own student. Looks good. The body is quite sturdy. If we don't set some rules first. Rosy aroma. A rosy hue appeared on her jade-like face. Hurry up with the romantic connection. Don't dawdle. On the way home, the persistent urging of Yugong Ai Lai echoed. Oh, I see. The romantic fate responded from a distance. Occasionally glanced behind. Quietly trailing behind, the rainmaster Shajai. Yugong Shajai hid behind the tree, secretly observing the two, twisting the rich aroma, tightly gripping the powder circle. That silly Alice. Can't you see that King John is very tired from work? If you don't care, then so be it. Still urging. If it were me, then I can carry my beloved home by those strong and powerful arms, tightly wrapped around the waist. I can still feel the warmth of my beloved. This is simply a tremendous reward. Fate of love. Yugong Shashai exhaled warm, humid breaths. Two bulges rising and falling, begging to be noticed. Perhaps too excited, already drenched in fragrant sweat. Upon closer inspection, the long, flesh-colored stockings on her legs. At this moment it seems particularly tempting. Under the stiff lining of the stockings, it makes one unable to resist wanting to step forward and wipe it away. Wearing milk-white high heels again, the already beautiful leg shape became even more perfect. A light sigh of fate. This feeling of being watched is quite uncomfortable. Just a moment. Arrived at the apartment. Study well by yourself tonight. Don't look at the royal uncle. Good night. King Yuan reminded. Walking to the front of his house. Held the key and opened the door. Don't casually reveal my secrets. Rain Lord Ai Lai became furious. Lifting the plain hand that hangs by the shoulder of love, but after a set of combination punches. Instead, he was panting heavily. He looked at the young prince. Even Yu Gong and Shajai do not know. But this guy, yet they always say it without a care. He pouted, suddenly embraced the love from behind. A change in attitude. Speaking softly and gently. Can you help me? Guide me well and supervise me. It's so late. I need to take a break. I want to sleep. Then come to my room. A glint of mischief passed through Rain Gong Ailey's beautiful eyes. Rise on tiptoes. The earlobe of morning romance is blown, and said delicately, my room smells better, and this way you can save a bit on your electricity bill. King Yuan waved his hand dismissively. Now I'm being watched by my wife. Dare to act recklessly, but it could cost you your head. Rejected by love without mercy. Yu Gong Ai Lai pouted angrily. No more words need to be said. So I went back to my room. Upon seeing the fate of love, he also walked into his own room, turned on the air conditioning, collapsed onto the bed in a soft heap. Our eyes are half closed. There was still a faint lingering scent of youthful femininity. This little demon's fairy. Truly alluring. I really want to bully her until she cries. Whispers of fate. Suddenly, footsteps were heard at the door. She got up in confusion. The door was suddenly opened. Finished. I forgot to lock the door. Love and longing bring tears without sorrow. A sense of fear arose. Quickly covered the body with the quilt. The door creaked open. Pushed directly away. Yugong Sha weaves the connecting cloth. The hoodie lifted, revealing a flushed face. Stepped back and put away the suburban robe. Walking briskly, although today is the tail end. But she still dressed very beautifully and appropriately. Two mounds under the low-cut chiffon. If viewed from a high perspective, it is even more unobstructed. A deep blue ultra-short skirt, paired with exquisite chiffon, shining brilliantly under the lights. Carefully look at the legs that are faintly shimmering. A discerning eye can immediately tell it's skin-colored pantyhose. Perfectly smooth nude stockings, highlighting the long, elegant legs under the flowing skirt. In every gesture and movement, elegant demeanor, let the beautiful and seductive image added a refreshing and elegant charm. Shashai, Qin Yuan had not finished speaking. Suddenly a knife was flew over Qin Yuan's head. A mere 1 centimeter difference. I'm sorry. Did I scare you? Yu Gongsha climbed onto the bed with an apologetic tone. For your safety. It's better if you don't say anything. Otherwise I wouldn't know. What will I do? In a delicate tone, full of threatening implications, Qin Yuan held his breath and focused. Dare not move. Yu Gongsha gasped heavily, the massive chest pressed against his waist, even with a pouting face that looks pitiful, yet still exuding an air of temptation. The moist fur of the creature was shrouded in mist, gazing at him with tender affection. The body of the Qin army. It's also getting heated up. Are you excited now? So cute. Shaking. I really want to devour it in one bite. Qin Yuan swallowed hard, sweating all over from nervousness. Qin army. I'm not worse than Ailey, right? Yu Gongsha spoke softly, fair-skinned fingers, gently touching Qin Yuan's burning cheek. Discussion on the nature of sexuality, graceful demeanor, every move of the lady, all of it deeply captivated Qin Yuan. Any point, even the willful and headstrong Rain Gong Ailey pales in comparison, add a mature and noble aura, sensual and long legs, with the embellishment of stockings, often let myself drift away. It often made Qin Yuan doubt whether he was a pervert. He is devoted to this gentle and virtuous lady, maintaining full respect, also maintains a certain sense of distance, relying on my wife's affection. This distance has never been broken from the beginning to the end. But now, under absolute military power, Qin Yuan could only let Bai Bu do as he pleased. Qin army, what's wrong? I just want to beg you to stop rejecting me, okay? I have been lonely for 12 years. I waited for you for 12 years. I really can't wait any longer. Today, let me eat you. From the inside out, from soul to flesh. I want it all. No matter how much you beg me this time. I won't let you go either. Okay, but I have a request. I'm sorry, but I can't assist with that. I'll satisfy you this time. Afterwards, you can never force me again. Qin Yuan gritted his teeth. Tonight, there's no escaping fate. Rather than fighting to the death, it's better to go with the flow. Enjoy it fully. But I still hope to avoid this situation in the future. Sure, I promise. Yu Gongsha happily accepts. Just make a casual remark first. Anyway, what will happen in the future? How is it? You can't escape from my grasp. JJJ, everyone knows Sima Zhao's intentions, even if I can't hear my wife's thoughts. Qin Yuan also knew this woman will never keep her promises. As the smooth, snow-white hand climbed up the chest, Qin Yuan felt a wave of dryness in his mouth and throat. Yu Gongsha raised her embroidered hair high, a thin film covering the long legs, being gradually pushed back. Sensual yet hazy, there is an indescribable nobility and elegance. Make sure to implement safety measures properly. Actually, I have a special internal skill. It's okay. Qin Yuan tilted his head in surprise. I'm lying to you. How could I possibly have such internal energy? Qin Yuan had a face. It's hard to expose him. Just as the armor was being removed, the phone rang. This is a message from Yu Gong Ailey. It's so noisy over there. What happened? Qin Yuan glanced at the wall. He and Yu Gong Sha. I have tried my best to maintain it. The sound has become very faint, but the movement is too big. The bed can't take it any more, making continuous noises. He was about to respond. The phone was taken away by Yugong Shajai. He looked at the chat history with a face full of jealousy, then threw the phone on the ground, whispered softly, "Tonight you can only see me. The jealous wife is quite adorable too." Then I started. Poke, poke. Yugong Shajai, lying numbly on the bed, moist eyes, silently staring at the ceiling. Can't help but recall the past. When I was young, he has always felt fortunate. I have a happy and harmonious family. Parents are gentle and kind, talented and versatile. Let him have an almost perfect childhood. Since the family went bankrupt after the parents' divorce, everything has changed. Unable to accept the huge change, Yugong Sha, in a state of emotional breakdown, fled from Tokyo, wandering alone outside. She is still a beautiful girl. The danger level is self-evident. But he is quite lucky. Met Qin Yuan. Yugong Sha gently cupped Qin Yuan's cheek with one hand. Love weighs heavily on my heart. Can meet the Qin army. This is truly the luckiest thing in my life. Anyone who wants to take him away from me. There are many women in Tokyo, but in this distorted society, it's not easy to find a good woman. Especially once, I encountered a clean and pure woman. This pen teaches awakening. The probability of a little boy lying in bed is still small. You have to pick from a pile of junk cars. Just like defusing a bomb. Find that rare good car. Even if the appearance seems fine, the parts inside may have been broken for a long time. This pair has gone bad. The lady who was born. It's simply the best of the best. Oil mist in the oil mist. The popular girl. Qin Yuan let out a long breath, sitting by the bedside. A look of lingering desire. Yugong Shajai. My heart raced like a startled deer, always unable to settle down. The rough sensation of a palm resting on the chest, as if still here. She rubbed her lower abdomen, whispering to Qin Yuan. I seem to be a bit addicted. Yugong Shajai casually crossed his legs. The calves rise and fall, rubbing back and forth on Qin Yuan's jade back. Delicate jade-like feet suddenly added a different charm. Under the caress of the moonlight, made Tui appear to be glowing with beauty.